Hello, Benedictine community. My name is Dave Schroeder, class of 1990, and after 33 years, I found my way home, back to the school that I love. I'm not only honored, but truly humbled for this opportunity to serve as your next president of the high school. The choice for me to come to Benedictine really was never a choice. My mother was insistent that I attend Benedictine High School. I have two brothers that went to the school. I have two uncles that went to the school. So for me, it was never a choice. The day that I walked into the halls of this school and showed up for that first day of football practice in August of '87, I knew that I found home. I think the big thing that people talk about, and it's written in our literature, it's front and center on the building, it says home of champions. And while we key in on the champions aspect sometime from an athletics perspective, the focus that I put on is home. So what I didn't realize coming in as a first year student was, what do we really mean by home? And home is somewhere where the people who are there appreciate who you are for what you are. They have your back, whether it's on the football field, in the classroom, or post-graduation. It's the feeling that you get when you come back for events, whether they be reunions or you hook up at a football game. To me, home is the aspect of the school that I think really stood out for me because of the friendships, because of the relationships that I built, the experiences, the values that this place helped shape for me. I think Benedictine offered me the ability to really showcase some of my strengths. And I participated in football for 4 years. I was lucky to be a captain my senior year. I was captain of the defense, received the very prestigious Joe Rufus Spirit Award, participated in playing baseball, wrestling. I was on student council for 4 years. Anything that I had the opportunity to invest some in, I did. I think a lot of that is based on the fact that Benedictine, not only offers so much, but it's accessible to so many different opportunities. When you are around really great people and you get put into positions or elected positions, or anytime your peers are voting for you in those kinds of scenarios, it's just incredibly rewarding. But to me, it was always just very humbling. I just never felt that I earned or deserved any of it, but I did my best when I was in some of those positions. But once you graduate from high school, the world is sort of just it's a scary place, right? So you're sort of, what's my next step? What am I going to do with my life? And the first step of that process is to sort of decide whether or not college is the right direction. And similar to a lot of young men, I wasn't sure. I had a fork in the road. I had been working at a golf course as a caddy for many, many years during my tenure at school and even before that. And I had an offer from a professional golfer to come on the PGA Tour as a backup caddy. That offer came right as I was going into selection for college. And I think fortunately I made the right decision. And I also had another fork. I was debating whether I go to the University of Dayton or do I go to Ohio Wesleyan on a talent grant scholarship to play football. That decision, was sort of made, and said I'm going to go focus on my academics. I had always been interested in how things work in terms of whether it be how cars work or how mechanical things work. So computer technology at the time was just really starting to emerge as a mainstream type of sort of area of study in college. And the University of Dayton had a program called the Management Information Systems, which combines computer science with management. And people in the past have always told me, and continue to tell me, especially my wife, that you're good at telling people what to do. So I kind of always knew that, maybe management at some point in business might be a path for me, but I always liked the ability to understand how things work. So computer science, programming, and technology was of interest to me. So I chose the major of Management Information Systems, spent 4 years, mostly because I was paying for school myself and with student loans, and mom was footing the bill a little bit, but I knew I had to get out in 4 years. Took my first job with NCR Corporation, which was world headquartered in Dayton, Ohio. Basically running help desk calls, troubleshooting people's PCs and laptops. I worked at the world headquarters. Quickly was assigned to work on what we called our campus LAN architectural team. So I was given the opportunity to work with some new emerging technologies. At the time it was Windows 95. partially put in charge with another team member to roll out Windows 95 across the entire Dayton campus, and it consisted of 5 buildings. Asked to go over to Australia, NCR Australia, and do the same thing for our NCR Australia. I did that for 5 weeks, and you talk about an experience for a young kid from Cleveland, fresh out of college, 2 years, and I'm in Australia. I spent 5.5 years at NCR, actually 6 if you count my internship. From there, I was recruited by, at the time, the biggest name in tech, which was IBM. So I spent 5 great years at IBM. This was when I was living in Denver, Colorado at the time. I got picked up by a small firm called VMware. And as I tell people, this was the life lottery ticket. I've been blessed with knowing and being around very important people in terms of influences, but the VMware opportunity came about as a result of me having to step in and do a presentation for a customer. And next thing I know, I was offered a job at VMware, which was a startup technology company in Palo Alto, California. 300 people, I think I was employee 320. When I started, we were less than $10 million or $100 million in revenue. By the time I finished my career at VMware 13 years later, we were $8 billion in revenue and over 12,000 employees. And I was managing a team of over 400 people in the US. So the lottery of life was that opportunity at that point in time, taking advantage of it, leveraging all the disciplines and skills and things that I learned, not only in my career up to date, but certainly going back to this place early on. After 13 years at VMware, I was again asked to do an assignment for 3 years at Dell Technologies and help build out an enterprise architect practice. That 3 years turned into 6.5 years, and where I had exposure to some of the largest global accounts in the world, but also managed a global practice of over 125 individuals all over the world. So I got significant international experience, understanding different cultures and different languages, and just a tremendous opportunity, and got to meet just some incredible people along the way, and some of the people that have influenced me and continue to this day to be mentors. And then in April of this year, after almost 30 years in technology, I decided to take a break and say I'm going to take some time off. Little did I know an opportunity like this was right around the corner. We believe here at Benedictine in the principles of mind, body, and spirit, and sometimes the spirit part is difficult to find or understand or to grow, but I would tell you that the spirit was in full effect with the timing of this particular opportunity and the draw or the call that I felt so strong to at least investigate it. And here we are 33 years later, after 30 years in technology, come full circle and back at a place that, again, I call home, and I think I always will. I feel truly blessed in terms of how those opportunities have translated not only to my personal success and professional success, but then how do I potentially give back and help others to achieve similar success in their journeys in life as well. Benedictine has always been a great school from a standpoint of once you're in this building, once you experience it, what we've done in terms of up-leveling the outward appearance of the school with the new capital project that was just completed and all the hard work that went into that. But even prior to that, the capital project for the Basu Field, as an alumnus who was always on the outside looking in, wondering, what's next for the school, to see projects like that not only get started, but then get completed, and the reception that they receive. I mean, you can't not have just a ton of pride as being a former student here or an alumni or a man of Benedictine. I think our opportunity to take ourselves from good to great, from a outsider's point of view, that's what I'm excited about, quite frankly. I think there's so much untapped talent and potential within the building already, with the leaders in this administration, the teachers, the faculty, but our alumni. I think if we can tap into our alumni and get them to understand and see with those physical improvements that we're making, it's just going to, re-energize everybody to say, let's go on to the next, what's the next phase, what's next? And quite frankly, that's the leading driver for me in this role that I'm most excited about is how do we achieve what's next? Let's set a bold, strategic vision, and let's use what we can to go achieve that.